On a night that produced a lot of masterclass, a lot of tactical variations in Europe. Welcome to Scott City, where passion meets purpose. I am Mide, your host for today, and I have Elizabeth here with me to discuss all the games that happened live in the Europa League last night and the semi-final, the second leg. The first one we're going to look at is the Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest. This is a team that actually lost the first game. Aston Villa lost the first game by 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. Now we're going to look at the result because Aston Villa went on to win emphatically 4-0 against Nottingham Forest. It was quite an unexpected result, but Elizabeth, please, can you tell us what can you say about Unai Emery, the legacy on the line now? Because if Unai Emery wins the Europa League with Aston Villa, does that cement him as one of Europe's greatest last 20 years manager?
Absolutely. He doesn't even need to win this to get into that conversation. I think Emery for me is underrated because what that man has done in Europe, especially the Europa League, is nothing to none. It's impeccable. This man has been incredible. If you agree with me, if you had won the Europa League with the likes of probably a bigger side like Arsenal, Chelsea, the noise and the PR it would have
would have been high.
Would have been higher than this. He got the Europa League with Villarreal and then Sevilla.
Yeah.
That is why he's not getting that, that glory that he deserves. But I think getting this with an Aston Villa side that is, is on the rise in the Premier League since he took over.
Yes.
From after they were on the verge of relegation.
That was what
when he took over from Gerrard.
Yeah.
I think now that man has done a good job with them, and I think winning this trophy will cement it all. Good men of like Arteta too, they are still hoping and praying for an European title, whereas there's somebody that has 4 in the bag and on his way to get to the 5th one. So it's a good one for him, and he should be in that conversation.
Yes, I strongly believe that Unai Emery has done a lot because to win Europa League 4 times, 3 with Sevilla and 1 with Villarreal is something that is quite remarkable. And winning this with a low budget Aston Villa would actually cement his his
years of experience, and then in the last
20 years, like he's one of those managers you can reckon with. So quickly, let's move into let us look at Nottingham Forest because leading into this game 1-0 and now losing in that manner. We saw the result against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. They won emphatically
with their second team,
and they now went on with their first and best team against Aston Villa that has not even been firing in the Premier League too. So now Gibbs White got injured in that game against Chelsea. Now, how much of did they miss of Morgan Gibbs White in that game against Aston Villa?
Gibbs White is one of those that number 10 that connects the midfield and the attack.
Of course,
he's that man that dictates the way Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, they play. So him not being in that game, it's a very huge miss for them. And then whether we like it or not, yes, Chris Wood for all he has done for Nottingham Forest is good. But when you mention a threat for Nottingham Forest, if you are playing in Nottingham Forest and you're looking at a threat, the first person that comes to mind is Morgan Gibbs White. So his absence, affected their game plan going into the game. And I expected that, the other boys should be doing better, especially Anderson. If you look at the first goal they conceded, that move from Buenda, I think Elliot Anderson and then this guy should be doing better. And then Jer, I think that's his name, Jer, they should be doing better in terms of marking out Buenda, probably gets the ball to a corner kick or something, but allowing that guy, move past them and then gets the cross to Oli Watkins.
Yeah,
so I think that was tough from them.
Yeah,
that was tough from them. And then after they considered that first goal, it affected their game plan. It was as if they started fidgeting in the back line that we are now opened, we are open and all of that. They did not come to the party, their defense kept on opening. And looking at the second goal, the penalty they conceded, you don't put down anybody in that place. I think Milenkovic should be doing better. You don't put down a man there. Why pull him down?
The same mistake Augusto did against
them. And then you concede the penalty. Now they don't have their main keeper there. That is Marcels. I think if it were to be a Marcels, he would have attempted to make a save.
But Otega actually went the right way.
It went the right way. But for me, the way that man did that against that Palmer, getting that penalty against Palmer,
it was a psychological boost.
Do you understand now? Now he saved the first penalty in the last game, and then you are available to save another one. I think he should be doing better. He would have done better for the penalty. But all round, it was a good miss. But they didn't cover themselves in glory.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. Moving on into that game, for me, I would say Morgan Gibbs was sorely missed because what he brings to that team is impeccable. It's not something anybody can bring.
Yeah.
Looking at the players they have, and let's not forget that he's the skipper of that side,
Yeah.
and it's quite inspirational. So, for what Morgan Gibbs actually achieved at Nottingham Forest, it was badly missed yesterday,
Yeah.
regardless of the form they were or how they played.
They played
But
the game.
if you had played, maybe something to have higher.
Of
So quickly, let
course.
us look at the second one of the night. Freiburg against Braga. I never saw this coming because in that preview, I said Braga should be consolidating on that result they
Mm-hmm.
had in the first leg,
At all.
and it was quite a shocker. Though it was not a game without a controversy,
Mm-hmm.
and we got one in the 6th minute of the game when Braga got a man sent off. Now, Elizabeth, let us look at that red card. Was that a defining moment in that game, or do you think it was not enough for Braga to lose the way they did?
No, I think it was enough. If you are going away from home in a final before final, you don't concede that kind of a red card. Why pull that man down? It was obvious that that guy was through on goal as at that point. It was close to the 18-yard edge.
Once you're the last man,
Once you are the last man there, no, there were other players coming forward, but he
you are
was
denying
actually.
a goal scoring
Do you
opportunity.
understand? He was through on goal. You don't pull him down.
Yeah.
And in that position, whether we like it or not, it's still a 50-50 chance. He can fire, he can misfire, and he can still get, be on target and all of that. And there's still
Absolutely.
a keeper in front of goal. So you don't need to do that. Now,
Yes.
consider red card. Freiburg capitalized solely on it, and their performance, changed automatically from that point. And then in the 19th minute of the game, Kubla got the first goal. He backed the brace in that game.
And he was the man of the match.
Yeah, was the man of the match. He backed the brace in that game. So for me, I think that red card was the turning point that affected their own game plan. You don't go a man down away from home.
Yeah, I think I quite agree with Lizzie because looking at the way that Braga player, pulled down an opposing player, in a goal scoring opportunity is quite stupid. If I'm to say
Very
it,
unprofessional of him.
that was very, very unnecessary because you are now putting your team in a very precarious state.
Yes,
now
away from home.
for more than 80 minutes, they had to play with 10 men, and it was not a surprise that they lost the way they did. Now again, looking at this Freiburg side, they had a fantastic win against Braga, winning 3-1 at home after the first leg result where they lost narrowly 2-1. They lost narrowly because it was a 90th minute from Braga. So now I want to look at them over the course of the season. They have not done badly in the Bundesliga, and I want to look at their underdog pattern. Do you think this underdog blueprint? Do you think it's actually something that they're defining that name underdog in Europe, or this is built on circumstance?
Well, I want to. If you call them underdog, you're not absolutely, right or wrong. But I think the way they've gone through that they are facing the Europa League, I think you have to give them credit.
Of course.
You have to give them credit because
they are finalists now.
They're finalists now, and then if you look at them on their league table, they are not doing bad. Like I said earlier in the preview, they are on 44 points, and then any points they drop in their league, it takes them back out of Europe automatically.
Of course.
And they are just even occupying that conference league spot. So I think they focused on this game more that, at any opportunity they get at the final, they can get the trophy and automatically, get to Champions League.
Exactly, that's the silver lining for them now.
And also, you look at the financial money that comes with it. There's
an incentive for them.
Of course, now getting to the final, for every stage you get to in an European competition, probably you get off the league phase, the round of 16, there is always a financial bonus that comes with it. Now they're in the final. So that money, it comes into the financial, administration of the team, helps them probably, get players. And even if they want to buy players in the summer, it would be very good for them to say, okay, yes, we're in the Champions League. They can convince the player to come and, join them on their projects.
All right. I quite agree with you because what they have done so far is quite remarkable. It's not every time you see a team of Freiburg budgets, come into a European final. The first in their history of Freiburg, they are making a European final. Mm-hmm. And though Aston Villa are no strangers to European final, they have won the European Cup once, and they are an elite.
European side. So they got to the quarterfinal last season in the Champions League, and it was the champion that knocked them out.
So that was actually a brilliant one for them. So it will be a final to behold. Aston Villa going against Freiburg of Germany. Now, before we round this up, I want to quickly look at the finalists of all European competitions we have this season. In the Champions
Okay.
League, we have Arsenal coming from England. They'll be facing PSG.
PSG.
Then in the Europa League that we are talking about, Aston Villa of England will be facing Freiburg. And in the Conference League, Crystal Palace made that final, and they'll be playing against Rayo Vallecano in the final also in Istanbul. So now I want to look at the the three English teams now. Now, what can you say? Ending to these finals, who carries more or less pressure? Is it Aston Villa? Is it Crystal Palace? Or is it Arsenal?
Now, if you ask me, in my opinion, some you might disagree, but I think none of them are on pressure. Naturally, when Arsenal goes into the final, it's the defending champion.
Of
The
course.
pressure is more on the defending champion, to make a statement and get a back-to-back wins. Yes, Arsenal have not done this over the years. In the last time, they've not gotten to a final in 20 years, and this is their first final, and then a shot at it once again. So they are on pressure to make a history for the club and get that Champions League into that cabinet that they've
true.
not had before
Of course,
in history.
they want to
But
make-
if you look at their opponent, which is PSG, they are the defending champions, so they have more pressure, to make a statement and announce themselves that yes, they can be one a force to reckon with.
The Champions League we won last year was not a fluke.
Do you understand? So now, if you come to Aston Villa, they are not under pressure because it's Aston Villa. And now the only pressure I want to see it from their side is because of the coach they have is a man of experience in that competition. He has won 4 of it with 2 clubs. So that sort of in a way brings that pressure to them that they need to do it. That Emery needs to win this Europa League with this team that he has. Whether we like it or not, Aston Villa, they possess good, amazing players, good talent,
Good squad.
good squad.
I have to
Actually,
say.
you can't have a Mark Ginn in a team and you say you don't have a winger.
Yeah, that
You can't have Oli Watkins in your game and you say, yeah, if you look at Rogers,
Watkins,
everybody
Tillemans,
there, they have a good
Amadou,
squad.
Onana,
So
the
for
rest.
me, they might in a way, be on the pressure. And then if you look at Crystal Palace, it's a surprise that they are where they are. First time getting to the final of the Europa Conference League. So I think they've done well, but they are not under pressure.
All right. For me, I think Arsenal. Well, it might look like for me, I believe Arsenal will have a little bit of pressure, not as much as people want to make it, because yes, if they don't win it still, it will still be they are still nearly men. But the good thing about them is they are making the final after 20 years, and
Yeah,
that
they are
at least
progressing.
there is a steady progress in their Champions League journey. And PSG would ultimately want to show that last season, like I said earlier, it's not a fluke. And coming to Europa League final, Aston Villa with Unai Emery's wealth of experience in Europa, they want to actually make a statement and be the first manager to win it 5 times in history. And coming to the last one, Ole Gisner has actually done a lot.
Yes,
He won them their first last season, and they followed it up with a Community Shield. Now he'll be looking at winning them their first European trophy in their history. That will be all from us talking about Europa League that happened last night. Please do well to follow us on all our social media platforms: X, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And don't forget, subscribe on our YouTube page too. Like, share, and comment too. Whatever you think we actually missed or you want to say, please put it down in the comment section. Our handle is at Scarcity Engine. Again, at Scarcity Engine, as it is written under this video. I'll see you in the next one.